Oh boy. Oh boy. Had some things to take care of, had to cool down, soak this all in, let the doomers doom for hours on end. And what a painful
soak this all in.
Whoa, I got
let
the echo.
Doomers doom for
Got the
hours
echo.
on
Hold
end.
me 1 second. Wow. Let me just fix a couple things here. And a tragic one. There's no sugarcoating this. An absolute tragedy. Your New Jersey Devils fall by a score of 3-1 to the Philadelphia Flyers this afternoon at the Rock. And yes, we are in the red light district because this was just a terrible one. An absolutely terrible one. So much to get to. So much dooming. And welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And just the win or lose, we booze, guys. This is a painful loss. Hopefully this acts as medicine. Dirty Devil Vodka, the official vodka of the great Martin Brodeur. Dirty Devil Vodka, smooth as hell, and I drank a lot of this today, and I will be drinking a lot of it all night long. This one stings. Cheers to all my Devils fans. The Doomers are terrible, and what are we going to do? There's a lot of Doomers in the comments, as usual, as expected, and, don't be a Doomer. Now, I will say this was a ugly game, and I've been concerned. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not and that the team is playing good. But for the Doomers to come say, trade everyone but 3 guys and fire Keefe and fire Fitz, I mean, live in a world of reality. Some of these people live in an alternate universe where they know everything. I think you guys know who I'm referring to. As more time goes on, the more it proves that they just want to be right and pound their chests, even when they're dead wrong on their statistics to prove it. Case in point, the Timo Meier, the whole thing that Timo sucks, this, that, and the other thing, it's completely ridiculous. Now, would I like to see Timo Meier produce more? Absolutely. I would like to see everybody produce more. Every single guy. Would like to see them all produce more. But there's a massive world of a difference between wanting guys to produce more and saying that they suck and they're bums and this and that. It's just crazy. The hate on Timo is just completely ridiculous. As I pointed out, again, if you're hating on Timo, you clearly, in the words of Lindy Ruff, don't watch the game very well, because the eye test would tell you that Timo is a valuable player for this New Jersey Devils club. But then if your eyes aren't good enough to see that, the only other thing I could show you are statistics. And Daniel Amoya posted a little thing that I will share in the chat once again. For those that are hard-headed, it's in the chat. You could check that out for yourself. And it shows his 5-on-5 numbers, per 60 minutes. And he is right above his career best season in terms of points per 60 minutes at 5-on-5. He lost his power play spot to Nason. It is what it is. His production is going to go down a little bit, but Timo Meier is a bull. He makes us difficult to play against. He trucks guys. He's one of the only, physical forwards we have up front, along with Stefan Nason and Paul Cotter. But the stats are there. And so, again, if your eyes aren't good enough to recognize what he does, well, then maybe your eyes are good enough to look at the stats, and it shows. It shows the picture. But Devils get one early. Like to see that. Dougie Hamilton hasn't scored in a while. He rips one on net. Wish he ripped some more. Gives the Devils the 1-0 lead early on in the first, and it was a sloppy first period. Devils outshot 6-3. I mean, very sloppy first period for the Devils. Happy to have the 1-0 lead after one. We go to the second, and Luke Hughes makes a terrible play. And in my opinion, a B effort getting back with Michkov off the races. I'd like to see him push a little bit harder there and maybe, dive out with a stick, do something a little more than he did. Michkov buries it. We're tied 1-1 after 2. Go to the third period, and as you know, when it rains, it pours, guys. Bratter gets one. It gets challenged for being offsides. And as soon as you hear the challenge, you know it's almost a guarantee that it is, because the coaches are watching this on the iPads and they see, and they're not looking to waste go shorthanded on a challenge. And I believe Bill Spalding said the offsides challenges are 85%. So basically, almost 9 out of 10 times that someone challenges for offsides, it is in fact offsides. That was the case. The Bratter goal comes off the board, completely deflating. Bad penalty late. And Flyers on the power play, and Brink makes him pay. Makes him pay. Bang, bang. Flyers take the 2-1 lead. They add the empty net. That is all she wrote. The Devils fall 3-1, and it's really time for soul searching now for this group. Obviously, the roster could be revamped in some way. I mean, not a total revamp. A couple players, I think, is the most you're going to see. But it's, definitely concerning. Today was a gutless effort by this group in a game that they needed to win on home ice. And the Flyers were the hungrier team. The Devils looked sloppy the entire game. Just bad passing, just completely out of sorts pretty much for the whole game. And, this is the National, guys. I've been saying even before the slide, there is no free wins. Any team could beat any team on any given night, and the Devils have been taking these losses, and it sucks. It's painful. I'm hoping for some sort of change, but I'm not going to sit here and, just start going, this guy blows and trade this guy. I mean, it's childish nonsense. And for the people hating on Timo, again, I invite you to look at the stats posted by Daniel Amoya on Twitter. I pasted the link in the chat. You could take a look there, get an education, and you could decide to change your viewpoint after being presented facts. Because I live in a fact-based society. And so when you're an idiot and just say nonsense, you could say it 1,000 times. It doesn't make it true whatsoever. The facts are the facts. And Timo's not the problem. Bottom six depth is certainly a problem. The whole team just being in a funk. And now, not to make excuses, but I do think a lot of them are sick. It's not going to help matters, especially when you're on a slide like this. But I mean, wow, just something unfortunate has happened in almost every game for the past 2 weeks. And someone pointed out in the last post-game, stemming from when Nate just rolled around on the ice like he was shot. That was kind of the beginning of the end, that Carolina game, the second game of the back-to-back in Carolina. Or not the back-to-back, it was a home and home. On the 28th or 29th. Maybe it was a back-to-back. I can't remember, but it was a home and home. Nate just rolled around. We had a Timo Meier goal disallowed in a game with the Nason Phantom goaltender interference, and just bad calls and just bad luck. We had the one, was it the Sharks game? I think it was the Sharks game where Siegs went to clear it. It hits the official, the linesman. I mean, it's just something every game. The Toronto game, I mean, that was a terrible call on Siegenthaler, but here we are. This team is on a bad slide, and it is gut check time. And, for tomorrow's game, we're going to see, who really cares and who doesn't. The top six has to respond. The whole team has to respond, really, but specifically the top six. And slides like this, your best players have to be your best players, and they can't go absent. They absolutely must show up in a big way tomorrow, because now we are in a situation where, the season can slip away from you. I mean, stretches like this that linger on. Let's just look at the standings. Devils back to third in the Metro in terms of points percentage. They keep going back and forth with Carolina. Devils currently with 58 points, Carolina with 57 with 2 games in hand. And then you see there's a lot of wild card teams that are slowly creeping up as well. And you look at it, it makes the game tomorrow even bigger. Ottawa Senators have 50 points with 3 games in hand against the Devils. They're at a 556 points percentage. Same exact actually as the Blue Jackets. The red hot Blue Jackets through 45 games have 50 points as well with a 556 points percentage. And so now you're looking at a situation where if these guys don't snap out of it soon, you could slide to a wild card spot and even potentially out of a wild card spot pretty quick. Teams are playing desperate, and the Devils have not found that desperation needed, in my opinion. We're talking about, we're 2.5 weeks into 2025, and they've looked like absolute dog shit for the majority of the calendar year. And without Jacob Markstrom, another thing that a lot of the doomers were completely wrong about, all the people that were hating on the Jacob Markstrom acquisition, he's turned out to be the MVP of the team and hands down our best player, and even more so in the last few weeks. There wouldn't even be a close second in 2025. And so we go back to battle tomorrow in the second game of a back-to-back, which has been an Achilles heel for this New Jersey Devils club going back to last season. And they're going to have to find a way, because I will say this, and, you could say it's only one game or whatever. We're not far away from panic mode, in my opinion. It's not, I try to be fair. I try to be objective. A lot of people were panicking weeks ago. I said I was concerned a couple or a few games ago. Obviously today adds to that. And if somehow they don't win tomorrow, you're right there at panic time, in my opinion. Let me see who else is playing today. And Senators got a big 6-5 win over the Bruins in the shootout. 44 shots on goal. My God. 6-5. The Senators are going to come to the Prudential tomorrow flying high. Flying high. And you're going to see a guy like Brady Tkachuk. I've let the dream go of getting Brady. It's never happening. But he's a dog, and you're going to see what desperation hockey looks like tomorrow. Watch Brady Tkachuk. I promise you he is going to have a monster game, and he is going to register a lot of hits, and he is going to be in the mix constantly because he is a winner on a traditionally losing team. Game stats pathetic. Flyers 18 shots, Devils with 13 shots. I mean, my God, 13 shots on goal in a whole game. That is just pathetic. And that's including with 2 power plays. You have 2 power plays and you get 13 shots. It's completely unacceptable, and it's gross. I mean, you have to look at this, the team should be disgusted. Jake Allen certainly deserved much more tonight. Face-offs very close, 51.2% for the Flyers, 48.8% for the Devils. Flyers 1 for 2 on the power play. Devils go 0 for 2 on the power play. Again, if you could have got one of those, maybe it's a different game. Power play coming up empty again. Flyers with only 10 hits, which seems kind of low. Devils with 18 hits. 18 hits, in my opinion, again, not going to get it done. Block shots galore from both teams. Flyers blocking 33, Devils blocking 25. Flyers with 18 giveaways, Devils with 21 giveaways. Again, way too many giveaways. Slop. Something we've seen, a couple games, they've got it down to a somewhat acceptable number. 20-plus giveaways in a game is grotesque. 8 takeaways for the Flyers, 4 takeaways for the Devils, and that's it, man. 13 shots on goal. 13 shots on goal. And a lot of you, like to mock me and whatever else. This is the worst loss of the season, surpassing the previous game, which was the worst loss of the season. Just the fashion in which it happened, the effort. When you look at the overall picture, this is hands down the worst loss of the season. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Worst loss of the season. And again, tomorrow's a big one. Now, even if they win tomorrow, the team, it's not like, oh, tomorrow you win and everything's better. Absolutely not. This team is in trouble right now. And there's not a, simple solution. People like to simplify it and like, do this, do that. I do expect Fitz to make a trade. I think it's going to be or maybe even 2 at some point. They're going to be bottom 6 type guys, maybe a middle 6 type guy at best. More depth moves than a big splash. I think a lot of people are, waiting for this big name guy to come in and be the savior. I'm here to tell you, I don't think it's going to happen whatsoever. I think, at best case, and maybe not these exact players, but at best case, I think we get guys like, a Taylor Hall and a Jake Evans, like something like that. I don't think, and again, I think, I'm not saying those exact guys, but I do think guys like them, or even them exactly, Taylor Hall and Jake Evans on this roster makes it a much better forward group. But the big guns got to be the big guns, and guys got to start playing like they give a shit. And tonight, or this afternoon, whatever you want to call it, was an absolutely unacceptable and, in my opinion, gutless effort. It truly was. Jake Allen, the poor guy, hasn't won a game in forever. And in a lot of those starts, he played more than good enough to win. He really did. And the team in front of him just shit the bed, just like they have for Markey for this last stretch. Luckily for us, Markey was able to steal that win in Seattle and, get a couple loser points. But, I mean, wow. When it rains, it pours. The Doomers are out in full force. Again, I still believe in the group, but something's got to change in a hurry, because sitting idly and just hoping one day this is going to fix itself is, I think it's a fool's errand. There's a lot to work on for this team, and they looked absolutely terrible from early on. They looked terrible. I've been trying to get a hold of Steve the Maniac to hear from him for the first time since the summer, but I'm disgusted, quite frankly. Obviously, I have a Devils channel, right? I mean, I'm here. I have a Devils channel. I care about this team more than I should, and I invest more hours than you would ever know on a weekly basis between watching the games, watching other Devils-related stuff, making these videos, doing these lives, and games like this really sting. It really stings. There's another close one that was right there for the taking. Tied in the third period. We have that goal wiped off the board, and it sucks. It really sucks. I'm depressed, and I'm very curious to see what Devils team shows up tomorrow. I mean, we might need Markey to steal another one. But wow, scoring one goal, you're not giving him much of a chance. I mean, score two at least. Give Markey a fighting chance, so he doesn't have to pitch a shutout. You score one goal, you're relying on your goaltender to get a shutout to get a win. I mean, that's absurd. Even 2 goals is absurd, but shit, that's a start. They could get 2 goals tomorrow. Can Markey hold the Sens to 1 and steal a win? I don't know, but I do expect moves to be made. Given the record of the past few weeks now, I think time is precious, and I think it might be time to kind of be a little more proactive and not really wait. The deadline is still like 6.5 weeks away. I mean, that's a lot of time between then and now. I'd like to see something done. I also hate to be this guy, but I do think we might now be at the point of, where are we going to see a backbone from Sheldon Keefe? He looked a little aggravated in the post-game press conference, but not enough for my liking. When your team's on a slide like this and you lose this game, I want to see spit flying. And so I don't expect it to happen, but I think this now for tomorrow's game, especially coming off the back-to-back, I would healthy scratch a bunch of guys. And give a bunch of Utica kids that are hungry a chance. Even if we lose the game, I think in the end, sending a message like that would send shockwaves through the locker room. And I think we're at the point where you need to do something shockwave worthy. Talk is cheap. Saying shit and blah, 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 it's not enough. I think someone's got to feel it, or multiple guys got to feel it. And I think there should be a crowded player suite tomorrow where they could all enjoy the Rock's cuisine from the player suite while they watch Utica guys suit up in their spot. I don't expect it to happen. It doesn't seem like accountability, is enforced, I guess. Enforced, for lack of a better term. But I think on a lot of other teams with different head coaches, you would see some big names and some not so big names as well watching the game from the player suite tomorrow and letting some hungry kids get a chance. Alex, I hate to say this because I'm not a doomer, but I'm getting concerned. Alex, I'm beyond concerned at this point, and that's all fair. I've said time and time again, there's a huge difference between being a doomer and, being, giving logical, thoughts or commentary, whatever you want to call it. But when people sit here and say, I told you so, this team sucks, and fire this guy and fire that guy, trade the whole team. I mean, that's the definition of dooming. But saying that that you're getting concerned is far from dooming. Chico, Ace really said I had to let the dogs run themselves tired in the backyard. Oh, these dogs aren't going to get tired, Chico. They got energy for days, like the Energizer Bunny. They keep going and going and going. I haven't even seen the whole thing. So first of all, the reason I delayed the chat, I wasn't planning. So my little nephew had a wrestling match that he wanted me to go to. I originally told him I couldn't go, but the fashion in which the Devils lost, I was furious. I really was not in the mood to come on here and start cursing at people and yell about the team. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to his wrestling match. I'll enjoy that. And then I'll come back and do the live after I watch all the post-game interviews and all the stuff. So I just wanted to see what was going on. And I'm pretty sure there's been some people dooming in here for hours at this point. I mean, shit, the game ended what? 2.5, 3 hours ago? I mean, wow. Wow. Keeping up with the Devils. Alex, that's fair. At least you're not saying sell the team or trade Nico. Oh, Brian J., the coward showed. Brian J., welcome to the collection of idiots on this channel. I hate to do it. I tried to give you an out. I tried to give you an education. You are now attached at the hip with SST as the two biggest morons in channel history. Congratulations. Congratulations. Keep talking about how bad Timo is, even though you were shown a nice statistic there to, because you can't tell by watching the game. So we give you the stats to hopefully, clear it up a little bit. And instead of taking that information and admitting you were wrong, which some of you people could never do, you could never be wrong. Always got to be right. Always got to be right till the death. And so now you are on the sinking ship. Congratulations. Maybe one day you come back to the light, but for now, you're in camp idiot. Keeping up with the Devils. We know this isn't your first time having that vodka today. Absolutely not. Zach, win or lose, we booze. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. We are boozing heavy today. Gem card collecting will be okay. Ace. Regular season means nothing. Playoffs, we will peak. I'm not going to say regular season means nothing. It definitely means something. You're trying to get home ice at least and get the best position possible for the playoffs. With that being said, if something doesn't change soon, I hate to say this, the playoffs are no longer a foregone conclusion, in my opinion. A week ago, they were. It was like, we're definitely in the playoffs, and I believe they still will make the playoffs, but now it's not so matter of fact anymore. If this slide continues or we see anything remotely like it at any other point of the season, you're talking about, with all these hungry teams coming up, the playoffs are not a guarantee. And it's crazy to think about, but now you got to be realistic. It's not. It is not. Brendan plays. Not going to do him. I am going to panic. Our issues are generating offense, clearing the zone, winning puck battles, and handling the puck, and an excessive amount of giveaways, especially by the Hughes. I can't say you're wrong. There was nothing good about this game today. Absolutely nothing good. Nothing good. Nothing good came of it. Jace, no, this team has been garbage since Christmas. Technically, they won that big one afterwards at home against Carolina. So they've been garbage since like the 28th or whatever it was. Let me get the exact date. It was either because we were home for the 27th. Yeah, so since the 28th, the Natchez incident. That's when it all went down the hill. Brendan, you see it a lot in OT. On a positive note, our bottom six wasn't the problem today. On a less positive note, the top six was. Yeah. It was. You don't generate anything. A defenseman scores with our fourth line on the ice. 0 for 2 on the power play with the big guns out there. And that 5-on-5 obviously did nothing. I mean, wow. 13 shots on goal. Completely unacceptable. Luke, Ace, who is worse to deal with, SST or Rangers fans? Probably SST. Just because it's like I have to get this aggravated with a fan of the same team. So by default, I think it's worse. Brendan, those are my takeaways. Let's get healthy. Let's practice board battles and puck control. Let's throw as much as we can on net and park Nason and Mercer in front for the rebounds. If it was only that easy. If it was only that easy, I want to see an angry team start smashing people. I don't know what happened to it. They disappeared. They don't want to hit anybody. Fentanyl Floyd. Timo can score a Game 7 OT winner for the Cup, and haters will say he should have scored it in the third. Yeah, I think so. These people are never going to be happy. Some people decided they never liked Timo from day one, and so the narrative will continue to be beaten to death that Timo sucks and Timo's this. Our forward group, if you take Timo Meier out of the lineup, our forward group is even softer. If you can't see that, again, I just don't know what game you people are watching. But then when I show the stats that support what the eye test tells me, then you see the stats, and it's still not good enough because, again, I'm always right. Rah, listen to me yell. I mean, it's nonsense. The Devils lost one game to the Flyers, and all of a sudden they own us. The Flyers don't own nothing. Oh, see. Flyers own you, Brian. You're probably a young child, but I could give you a quick refresher in history if you'd like, and that is that the New Jersey Devils eliminated the Philadelphia Flyers in the 1995 Eastern Conference Finals en route to winning their first Stanley Cup in 1995, and then again in 2000 in Game 7. After the Flyers had a 3-1 lead, the Devils came back. They won Game 4, Game 5, Game 5, Game 6, forced a Game 7 in Philly. Stevens knocks out Lindros. The rest is history. Devils win Game 7, go on to the finals, beat the Dallas Stars for their second cup. Meanwhile, the Flyers have not won jack. So that is revisionist history, my friend. Revisionist history. Jeter Toker, will someone significant be benched tomorrow? I would love to see it. I don't know that it will, but I would love to see it. Alexander, Brian, remember what happened in the 2000 Eastern Conference Finals? He probably wasn't born yet, but I just gave him a reminder about that in 1995. Rob, old man Rob here. The sun will come out tomorrow. Keep the faith, y'all. I hope the sun comes out tomorrow. You butchered his name, I think. It's Daniel Amoya, I believe. And what does it matter who he is? He's like a reporter, but he put that stat out. That's a real stat that he pulled from whatever website. Yeah. Val S. Meyer's not paid to have good advanced stats. It's not like a crazy reach of a stat. Points per 60 minutes at even strength is a fairly normal stat. I'm not going to call that like a crazy advanced analytics. And the guy got bumped off the power play. Obviously, his point totals are going to dip a little bit. But again, if you're watching the games, and you don't think Timo's a valuable player to the team, then you're sadly mistaken. Jim, Flyers fan here. 13 shots on net is embarrassing. Could not agree more. I could not agree more. 13 shots on net is pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Stanley, this isn't a slide. Markstrom has been the best player on the roster this season. The Devils will be fighting for a wild card spot without him. Absolutely. Fentanyl Floyd, I wouldn't mind to be in a wild card spot, to be honest. I don't want to play Carolina. There's going to be no easy wins. The East, once the playoffs come around, there's not going to be any, super favorable matchup. No matter who you face, it's going to be a tough game. Robert, this was painful. What the Rangers are to you guys in the North, the Flyers are to me. Although living in Western PA, I grew up in South Jersey. Flyers, public enemy number one. No, I totally get that. I had some friends in college. I went to Rutgers. And there was some, South Jersey kids there that were Flyer fans. And I remember I met some Devils fans from even Central Jersey and also South Jersey that were like, they said the same thing, like how you guys grew up here and hate all the Ranger fans. He's like, I'm surrounded by Flyer fans, so I totally get it. But in the end, it's a big win for the Flyers, but does anyone realistically think they're going to the playoffs? I don't think so. You never know, but I doubt it. And so what are they? And they've won nothing ever. So what are they going to say? You want a meaningless January regular season game? John Woodson, 13 shots in a must-win game is all you need to know about this forward group. It's pretty damning, that's for sure. Luke, someone mentioned they almost had the same exact record last year and the team started a death slide. This is very worrisome. It's definitely worrisome. It's definitely worrisome, and something's got to give soon. Chico says, if you're in panic mode already, you've lost the plot. Jay Snow, we can't score. We play super soft. Yeah, we saw the heavier, edgier, more violent often early in the season, and then there's just games where it's just not there, and guys don't want to hit. But shout out to the guys that did hit. 18 hits on the night, and half of them were made by two gentlemen combined. Nate Bastian with 3 hits and Paul Cotter with 6 hits. 2 forwards accounted for 50% of the entire team's hits. Unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. John Fay says, oh, Jesus, almost 50 shots. We're in for a treat tomorrow at the Rock. Marky better eat his Wheaties in the morning because he might be in for a heavy workload. Stanley, Devils are getting wrecked tomorrow. I wonder how many assists the Hughes brothers will have for the Senators. Be brutal. Brutal. Luke, this team would have lost 10 straight if not for Markey. They didn't look good that game in Seattle or Tampa. Yeah, Markey was stealing points, even the loser points. John Woodson, team isn't making the playoffs. We've had about 5 games in a row where they've showed no heart in the third period. They are soft. I still think they make the playoffs, but again, I don't think it's a guarantee. And I can't say you're wrong about being soft and just no killer instinct. I mean, what the hell happened? I have no idea what happened to this team. It's been quite the 360. Chico, I have full confidence that Keefe will figure this out. I'm not happy with how they've played lately, but I'm also not going to doom and rewrite history over an objectively awful game. Yeah. Luke Perry, Luke and Jack single-handedly giving away points. Rangers game Jack, Leafs game Luke, and today a double whammy of Luke and Jack. John Fay thinks 100% Keefe will find some way to turn this around. Well, it needs to be soon. If it's not soon, it's going to be too late before you know it. Traveling Devil, this is by far the worst game of the season. It was sickening. Completely agree there. Rabid Monkeypox, if the Devils lose tomorrow, should we start smoking crack? I think so. Caden, I was at the game today. Effing horrible game. Yeah, my heart goes out to those of you that went. I thought about it. For some reason, I just was like, I wasn't really feeling it. Jay Snow, I'm not trading anyone for this team. We might be selling. I mean, that would be, if we ended up being sellers, that would be the biggest devastation that I think I've witnessed as a fan. Going from, in the course of, everybody hyped up, the team looking awesome at Christmas, to then being sellers only a little more than a couple months later. I mean, if that happens, then heads must roll. I would say there's got to be, massive sweeping changes if that somehow played out. Luke, the flu excuse needs to stop. This has been going on for before the norovirus. No, absolutely. They've been playing bad. But it just could be one of those things, again, when it rains, it pours. It's like, yes, they're playing bad, and now they're getting sick. And there's a certain amount of guys that are sick on top of it. I mean, it's a realistic thing. I'm not saying, that's the full cause. Obviously, they're playing terribly as well. But now we're dealing with another layer of adversity, and it's unfortunate. But the excuses are out the window. It's time to perform. It's time to win games. Jason, no, seriously, if the Devils missed the playoffs, I would try to dangle Brat to see what the return is. Oh, boy. We're already getting there, huh? Wow. The break up the core talk already. I mean, it's going to if somehow they miss the playoffs, you're going to hear that about a bunch of guys. I think it's way too premature for that, Zach. Kudos to you, Ace. It's a painful gig, man. I tell you what, Zach. Nights like tonight are painful. Stefan, losing games is one thing, but it's the way how they are losing. It's like they don't care at all. I agree. This is, again, why it's the worst loss of the season. Losing a hard-fought, close game, sucks in and of itself. But in a game where you just fail to show up is a whole nother thing. And I agree. Brian, did you hear the Flyers fans after Brink scored? We took over your barn. Who cares, you loser? You're going to be playing golf in April for sure. For sure you're playing golf in April. Maybe you should look forward to baseball season. Maybe the Phillies will be better. Captain Mofungo, more than a couple of them are playing ill. Amanda Stein reported that a couple of the players were game-time decisions. Yeah, but people, listen, they played bad aside from that. But that's just another element that we're battling. And again, when it rains, it pours. There's tons of things going against us right now. Jeter Toker, the Devils haven't scored 4 goals in a game since December. Yeah, the goal scoring has completely dried up. And people got to start pulling their weight. Jerome, absolutely disgraceful. This is not a slump anymore. I really think this team fooled us. I don't think that's necessarily the case. It's definitely something more than a slump now at this point, I will say. But I do think the team can be good again. I just don't know what the hell's going on. You don't have the record we had at Christmas and as a team that sucks. It's just very, it's not like you were talking about 2 weeks of play or even the month of October. You're talking about 3 months of hockey. After 3 months, we were pretty damn good. Luke, if they are that sick to play, make call-ups. I know the farm team sucks, but the Ill Devils are producing hard results. Most games played and losing ground fast. Nick, I think this team is good. We see flashes of what it has been, but the issue is that the league knows how we are playing and we aren't making adjustments. Yeah, again, everyone knows this has not been a secret going back to a couple seasons ago. Take away the middle of the ice, shut down the transition, and make them score in other ways. And the team, again, they've showed flashes of it here and there, but they have to be willing to chip pucks in, dump and chase, get after it, win board battles, get a cycle going, and get sustained pressure. It's something that they haven't been very effective at as of late. And the team's record shows it, Every team knows how to beat the Devils or how to give your team the best chance to beat the Devils, and it's just do exactly that. Clog the middle, shut down the speed transition, make them go to another plan. And when they go to plan B and C, sometimes it's just not even there. John Fay, run with the Devils. I know I've been asking this earlier in chat when there's only 8 of us, but do you have any mock trades in mind? I mean, at this point, I don't see how people wouldn't be on board for getting a guy like Taylor Hall. I'm not saying him, but to me, that's a very low risk, high reward type move. He has no term. He's done after the year. It's a rental. They're supposedly only want a 3rd round pick for him. I'm way more intrigued by a move like that than some insane package to get JT Miller, who's got 6 years left on a monster deal where he's going to be making $8 million as a 35, 36, 37-year-old. I mean, I don't think that's favorable. Now, in a vacuum, would I rather have JT Miller? Absolutely. But you also have to look at the cost to get these guys. And that's why I think a move like Hall could be a low-key sneaky one because it will not cost a lot. Low risk, high reward. I don't know that, again, a guy like JT Miller and all these rumors flying around, like those are going to be expensive in terms of assets. I'm definitely not looking to, sacrifice the farm on a guy like JT Miller. I'll just leave Tommy's comment up there for a minute for you to read. Chico says if they lose tomorrow, I go with scratches, but not before, not yet. No, I think we're there. I'm scratching guys tomorrow, Chico, personally. I'm already there. I'm not waiting until tomorrow. Guys are getting, in my world, guys are scratched tomorrow. John, perhaps the best strategy is to wait closer to the trade deadline and see what teams are out of the playoff race and go after their best players that would benefit the Devils. Traditionally, I would say you're right, John. However, I don't think time is our friend anymore. That's what I was saying a week and 2 weeks ago with the way this team is performing, I don't think you have that kind of time to wait. We could be one of the teams out of the playoff race at the deadline if something doesn't change quickly. Now, whether that's the team waking up and actually playing to the best of their abilities, or some sort of trade or trades to bring in guys to help the team overall. But without doing anything, and if there's not some sort of major changes or this team doesn't just wake up and snap out of it, which it seems like they're having difficulty doing on their own with the guys we currently have, we very well could be one of the teams on the outside looking in or on the verge of on the outside looking in. And so I don't know that time is really on our side right now. Jerome, ace 100% Keefe has to start making some examples. Slurp said you want to send a shockwave. I absolutely want to send a shockwave. So this is crazy. Strip Jack of his A. He doesn't have enough leadership skills. You see, this is where, and this is what I tell people. Like, there's difference between like things that are based in reality and things that are not. Trading Timo Meier, it's not going to happen. So all you people hating on Timo, or trade the Hughes brothers, or trade one of the Hughes brothers. They're not going anywhere. They're not trading the Hughes brothers. They're not trading Timo Meier, and they're certainly not stripping Jack of the A. I mean, this is just psychotic stuff now. Give ideas based in reality. Stripping Jack of the A is not even remotely realistic. John Woodson says we added 4 new guys to put a band-aid on the real problem, the core. Luke Perry, the core needs to be shipped out if they don't make playoffs. Chico, if they don't make the playoffs this year, if it's me, I keep Nico and Brat and listen to offers on the Hughes brothers. Again, I think that's pretty maniacal. I can't see it happening. I'm pretty sure the franchise is all in on the Hughes brothers. And so I just can't see, why you guys think that this is remotely realistic. Captain Mofungo, the gargoyles don't like analytics. It disproves their logic of trust me, bro, I know things. So I've knocked analytics a lot because I think some of them are a stretch and I think some of them are just kind of silly. But a simple one of, Timo Meier points per 60 at 5-on-5, like that's not some completely contrived analytics to me. That's a fairly straightforward stat that would fall under the umbrella of analytics, but it's not some, kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but it's that one's pretty straightforward and I think makes sense. But of course, no one's going to like any sort of stats or analytics that completely disproves their idiotic narratives. And in the case of this one, it would be that Timo sucks, which again, if you're watching the games, I don't know how you could think that. But furthermore, even if you do, it's like, okay, well, here are the stats right in front of you. And they look at it and they're like, nope, I'm still right. And it's just crazy. Luke Perry, this team has put itself in a position where they can easily miss. Nicole, I missed this game, so it was blacked out, and Traveling Devil suggested I not rewatch it. I may take his suggestion and hope we get the win we need. Yeah, at most, Nicole, I would say watch the highlights, that they have those little highlight packages online that are like 10, 12 minutes. I certainly would not invest any more time into this nonsense of a game than just watching the game highlights. I think that'll just give you enough of a pain point and kind of realize what happened there. But watching, you're gonna get nothing but frustration and wasted time out of watching the entire thing. Luke, SST has been here since the game ended. That's amazing troll dedication. My God, is that a real stat there, Luke Perry? LJ, Brat gets quiet once this team struggles, unfortunately. I mean, listen, what can you say? But Brat's been our most consistent forward for years. I mean, the guy's basically a point per game guy, plays every game. Had a tough one go against them today with the goal wiped off the board on the offsides. It sucks. Jeter Toker, I agree. Split Brat and Jack. Do something to shake things up. Aside from guys getting scratched, which I don't expect us to see, at a minimum, we should see some different lines tomorrow. At this point, I don't know how, with the lack of goal scoring that has been going on for so long, how you could be married to the lines we've been playing. It's certainly well past time to try something else. Try anything else. Switch them up and see. They can't do worse than we did today. I'm pretty sure if you literally put all the names in a hat and pulled random names out, even if you made guys play out of position, if you just put all the forwards in a hat, even if you had two centers, you just say, I'll play a wing. You just pulled names out of a hat, 3, 3, 3, 3. How can you do worse than 13 shots on goal? You really can't. And it's unfortunate. My buddy Goody, it feels like they've stopped getting heavier, edgier, more violent, probably because they were top in the league in fights. They're probably told to dial it back. I don't know about that, or as if they were just forced to play a game that they're not comfortable with. But they got away from the physicality, and the wins started to disappear, and they started accumulating losses at an alarming rate. It's terrible. Zach W. Devils will always own the Flyers. Alex, standings, bro. Flyers are down there. Nick, we need to run the Sens out of the building tomorrow. We need 5 or more goal games so that the boys have fun again. That'd be nice. But, wow, after the 13 shots we saw today, not exactly a riveting performance. I would be happy with any sort of win tomorrow in any fashion. I'd be thrilled. I'd be completely thrilled. Rabid Monkeypox, I'm off to get blackout drunk and watch UFC Peace. Enjoy that. I'm going to fire up the UFC tonight as well. Very interested to watch that. Chico, it's tempting to take this game in the norovirus week and go. They've been shit since Christmas. If you look back at the games, they've largely been mid, not shit. Still concerned, but not panicked. No, I agree. They were right there. They lost a lot of one-goal games, obviously losing in overtime, the shootout, and they were right there in a bunch of the games. But in the end, the result is the result. And at some point, you got to get tired of losing. These losses are painful, and, it's time to start winning. Larry, the Devils are not scoring enough goals to cover up their mistakes. Not even close to it. Not even close to it. Don't bench anyone yet, but you make a bad pass like Luke or a bad drop like Jack, you sit a shift. Oh, Cape Dweller, you're way too lenient. Sit a shift. That's no punishment. Your ass got to be up in the players' suite, eating that arena food, watching the game. Chico, a wild card spot to dodge Carolina is a loser's mentality. I don't want to dodge anyone. I would take a playoff run of the 2010 Hawks, the 1980s Oilers, or 1980s Isles, and the 1970s Habs. Amshi, 'twas a horrible game, but this chat is full of Rangers in disguise. I think you might be right. Ryan the man says, bring Hall to NJ. I'm all for it. Low risk, high reward, in my opinion. John, I think the team is suffering from a lack of confidence. The mental aspect is the largest obstacle. It could be. Beachmaster, 18 hits and 20 turnovers. Yep. Nick, is no one going to talk about the absolute horseshit slash call and see? Because I swear the NHL is to get us after the bees with Carolina. We've been getting the shit end of the stick from officials all season long, it feels like. John faces, we are going to be buyers at the deadline. I certainly hope not. Marshall, if we became sellers, SST would throw a block party. I agree. Terrible. BC, I'm glad I missed the game, but it sounds like Jack and Luke were at it again, giving the puck away and making bad decisions. It's time to bench the Stars and they continue to F up, but it won't happen. I'm all for tough love. That was one of my biggest criticisms of Lindy, and it's about to be my biggest criticism of Sheldon Keefe, I think, because at some point you got to say enough is enough. Words are not getting through to specific players, and so now actions must dictate, how we move forward. Luke says, LOL, getting trolled by a Flyers fan. It's definitely the bottom here. Isn't that hilarious? So funny that Flyers fans are trolling. Like, dude, you're going to be golfing in a few months. Shut up. Anson, crazy talk about JT Miller for major pieces, and I think we need to keep Nemitz. Yeah, it would have to take a special circumstance for me to want JT Miller, and it starts with retention. I don't want to pay him $8 million for all those years. But if they were truly desperate to get rid of him and they were retaining money and we didn't have to give up a lot to get him, I would consider it. But in terms of giving up big prospects, I would definitely not give up any big prospects for Miller. Jay Snow, how many more years of missing playoffs would you wait to break up the core? It's a loaded question. It's tough because, they're definitely not going to trade Timo. I think it'd be stupid to trade Bratt because I do think he's our best offensive forward for years now, right? You're not trading Nico. He's the captain, our best two-way player. And they're not going to trade a Hughes brother. So I honestly feel like, you're looking at they're almost locked into this core, I feel. At least for the next couple years at a minimum. Ryan Johnson didn't catch the game today. What was the issue? I guess the shorter answer, Ryan, would be what wasn't the issue? Everything was the issue. Luke, the Prudential Center blows anyway. It's a house of losing. Oh, amen, brother. We should just try to move the team back to the swamp. I would love to see it. It is a house of horrors. Basically, two good things happened in Prudential Center ever. The great Martin Brodeur, his 552nd win, breaking the NHL wins record that was held by Patrick Waugh with 551, and knocking the Rangers out in Game 6 of the 2012 Eastern Conference Finals. That basically is the only two good things to happen in New Jersey Devils history in the Prudential Center. Metalander says there's no leadership in the room. I think there's some. I think Brendan Dillon's a leader. I think Jacob Markstrom is a leader. But with all that being said, that's why I really wanted, until I saw the price, but I was very intrigued by the potential of landing Steven Stamkos this past offseason, because he is a proven winner. He is a leader. He is feisty. He wants to win. He's done it all. And I thought a guy like that could really help in the locker room as well. And we still don't have a guy, of that caliber. Jerome, my ultimate hope is that the Devils make the playoffs. And we're laughing about how, remember in January when we were saying this team was done? But for right now, it looks like they've been solved. Yeah, absolutely. They've been solved. The shut down the transition, the speed game, force them up the wall, force them to dump it in. And it's a game that the Devils are not comfortable playing, and they're not effective at it. Jason says get rid of Tatar and Bastion. I mean, they could be upgraded for sure. John Fay Chico, I know we talked about this, but should MacD get the go tomorrow against the Senators and vocally help shift momentum? I don't think anyone's counting on McDermott to vocally shift momentum. I think his momentum shifting comes from big hits or fights. Salvatore, scratch Luke, call up Nemitz, but Nepo Baby will never face consequences. I'd be shocked. I just don't think you're going to see that happen. Ryan Demand, if we miss the playoffs, I think Fitz is definitely going to be shown the door. Oh, God, we're already at we're missing the playoffs. I mean, I can't even let my head go there, man. Brendan plays. I'm going to say it. Bench Jack and Luke tomorrow. Wow. I think you mean scratch, right? Well, that'd be something. BC, send a shockwave, put Jack and Luke in the press box for a few games. If Fitz would give Keith hell if he did, they run the organization. You're probably not wrong. You're probably not wrong. I don't know that he's even allowed to. But if he is, it's probably, it's something that should be explored at some point. And maybe even now. But I don't know if he has it in him or if he's even allowed. Captain Mofongo, the Hughes brothers hate is ridiculous. SST has definitely given the idiot flock his gonorrhea. Oh, boy. The New York Nobody. What's going on? What's up, Ace? Some of these guys are sounding like Rangers fans saying trade Igor after a bad week. Oh, so you have Village Idiots too, NYR Nobody? I guess, every fan base has them. And the overreaction. Got to love the internet, right? Where everyone's voice is heard. Come to the internet and yell into an echo chamber. Wild stuff. Samuel, let's see Casey for a game or two. See, the thing is, the defense, in my opinion, the team defense has not been great, but I don't think the actual defenders have been, if you start tinkering with the defense, I think that's a recipe for disaster. I'm going to blame the majority of the struggles on the majority of the struggles on the offense, and the lack of offense has put a strain on the defense. It's a never-ending cycle. When your offense can't get sustained pressure, that means you're in your own end a lot, and that's a problem. So I love Seamus Casey personally. I think he is going to be an awesome player, if not for the Devils, for somebody at some point. But I don't know if injecting him into the lineup is the answer. And furthermore, what who are you taking out for him? There is no easy solution. And I don't think that's gonna turn it around either. A lot of the answers are gonna have to come from within the room. Guys are gonna have to do some real soul searching because this team has just been underperforming in every way possible. Amagi, I'd really love a presser from Fitz at this point to hear what he has to say, as this team has absolutely fell off a cliff at 150 miles per hour after this Christmas break. Need to hear upper management's take. Don't hold your breath for that. I can't see that happening. Maybe at some point, but I don't know. Chico says, Brat quiet. I would argue the team struggles are tied to Brat's struggles. For me, he's our best player, bar none. I think he is our best offensive player. If I had to go best player overall, to me, it's neck and neck with him and Nico. I mean, you can't discredit the defense, and Nico comes up in big moments, and obviously so big on the faceoffs. Nico almost between him and Markey, the two of them almost willed us to a win against the Maple Leafs the other night. Jay Snow, look how Florida had to change the roster. They had to get tougher to play against. Yeah, they're the blueprint. The Matthew Tkachuk-led Panthers have been the blueprint, and in my opinion, the standard league-wide for how you play playoff hockey and grind teams down. Brian's, I'm devastated that you lumped me into SST category. You lumped yourself into SST category. Ted, it sucks, but I'll not panic, but Fitz has to do something. Yeah, he's got to do something. For sure. Luke Perry, Florida lucked out that Tkachuk wanted to go there. He literally single-handedly turned the franchise around. Like, that's not an exaggeration. Like, Matthew Tkachuk went there in his first season, turned the entire thing around. They went to the finals, and then last year they get back to the finals and win. I mean, talk about, just what one true scrappy winner could do. And that's why the Tkachuk brothers are two of my favorite non-Devils in the league, because they are just absolute throwbacks that will do anything to win. John, perhaps the break for the Four Nations Cup is what the team needs to restore their mental state and turn things around. Well, not only their mental state, I do think we haven't gotten a break. Some of the scheduling has been brutal. Lots of back-to-backs. Even today's game, we didn't even have, a lot of times it's like, oh, Wednesday night off, Thursday, and then again Friday night. We had one night off, and then it was from a night game to an afternoon game. So it's really like a day and basically a day rest. You don't even get the, till the nighttime. So it's all very, unfortunate. The schedule has been brutal, and I'm going to have to believe that there is some sort of curse associated, or maybe not a curse, but there's a very big negative associated with playing overseas in these global series games. Ryan Demand, Hall or Palmieri would help us out a lot. At this point, anyone will help us. We need all the help we could get, for anyone in denial about that. Now, again, are there other guys I'd rather have? Absolutely. But to me, it all comes down to, the cost and the benefit. I'm not looking to burn, draft capital or major prospects to bring in a so-so kind of guy. And that's why I think you're going to see some low risk, high reward type moves. And I think Hall could fit the bill, or even Palmieri. Anson, if only Salayev was developed, that monster could inject some dynamite. Yeah, he's still young. He's still very green, very young. He's at least a couple years away, but I look forward to seeing him, and hopefully he fills out some, gets his man bones, and starts smashing people. Fentanyl Floyd, Hall for a third. I'd do that tonight. I don't know how you wouldn't. Again, if you haven't seen it, I did a video. I look at the whole. I talk about the whole thing from every angle. If you haven't seen it, check it out on the channel. I look at the whole Taylor Hall potential thing. But spoiler alert, after looking at all of it, for something like a third, you'd be crazy not to do it, in my opinion. Michael Brands, RIP to all the dads who are stuck building the Palat Lego figure. Thing has 2 million super tiny pieces. Oh man. I saw the picture of what it was, but obviously I have no idea. Does it come in like a bag with 1 million pieces? Is that how it comes in? My buddy Goody, I agree with you about Miller. Personally, I'd rather have Besser, but would be costly. Funny enough, I've been playing Be a Pro in NHL 25, and the team is on a weird skid. Oh boy. Oh boy. Chico, tomorrow is probably going to be ugly, but I think they win. Then you've got Boston, Montreal, and Philly times 2. I believe they'll end the month 4-1. Calling it now, 4-1 to end January. That'd be amazing. So just sign me up. 4-1 would be a godsend. Go Boro, what's going on? Can we look at the spicing up the Hall deal? Maybe offloading the Palat contract for something sweeter. I think all you guys looking to just trade Palat away are maybe slightly delusionally optimistic. It's not going to be an easy thing to do, and I think you're going to see him for the rest of the season, and maybe the team looks into buying him out in the offseason, but I don't think you're going to find a taker. Who knows? You never know, but I think you're going to have to sweeten the pot and include something to get someone to take him on. Devs fan 125. Today was a disaster. Bounce back and get a gritty win tomorrow against Ottawa. Yeah, we've been saying bounce back for a while now, though. I'm still waiting to see the bounce back. It's been a rough go. It's been a completely rough go. But Bryce says we can win in many different ways. Well, they haven't found a way to win, period, in quite some time. So Bryce is, sometimes he gets a little bit of a homer. It is what it is. This is the only comment I'm going to show from SST. Marta, you can't be that beautiful. SST just continuing to be a thirsty savage. He's actually dehydrated. Someone get SST some Gatorade. He is dehydrated, parched, in need of a drink with all that thirst. LJ, I saw an old Rangers Devils game from 1992, which hit my algorithm. There's some scrap after the whistle stuff, and next thing you know, they sent everyone 5 aside to the box. Crazy. Yeah, that's old school hockey, my friend. That was the good old days. That's when gladiators played the sport. Keep it up, the Devils. 90% of the people here are insane. I don't know if it's quite 90%, but it's certainly high. And I appreciate you pointing that out because sometimes I feel like I'm losing my sanity dealing with all of these people. But shout out to you and the others, that do have a level head and, bring decent discussion points rather than just saying everybody sucks, trade everybody, yada, yada. Chico, Brat versus Nico. I love Nico. He's my favorite player. I'd follow him into hell, but in my opinion, Brat edges him out just a little to be our best overall player. Jack is our best offensive player, in my opinion. I think Jack is the flashiest offensive player, but if I had to go with overall best, I think I'm still going Bratter. Jay Snow, not just Kachuk. Florida's great at winning board battles, loose pucks, and forechecking. We do none of those things well. It's all true. It's all true. Amagi, someone asked, would you rather build a franchise around Quinn Jack or the Kachucks? I said absolutely the Kachucks at this stage, since Jack especially still has much maturing to do. I saw that on an NHL Twitter thing, and there was a poll, and I was shocked at, I think it was like 70% for the Hughes brothers. I expected it to be much closer to 50-50. Zupamaki, I'm panicking because I have seen this happen last season. Jay Snow, if I'm Fitz, I'm telling Keefe, no more trips home to Toronto. You better be an NJ figuring this thing out. Wow, Beachmaster, if Brat didn't resign here, I was considering following him. I'm assuming you mean to become a fan of whatever team he went to. Amagi, the winning mentality of the Kachucks is unreal, hence why they have so many haters. Fans of teams, they crumble and break down through their plain determination. Both of them warriors, talented. Yeah, the Kachuk brothers are the real deal. Samuel, Florida turned around after Viola bought the team. Well, the real turnaround, though, you could tie directly to one Matthew Kachuk. Jeter Toker says, I pressed panic button on January 4th. Listen to what Dylan said in the postgame and let that sink in. I listened to all of it, but I don't recall, Walter. What exactly are you extrapolating from what he said? I listened to it all, but I can't remember exactly. Hall and Donato coming from Chicago would be a nice cheap addition. Yeah, something like that I think realistically is as good as it's going to get, and we should all welcome those additions. Though that is I think a very nice tweak job or something along those lines. Would love to see it. Now, if we got Hall and Donato, you're going to see these same idiots going, "Oh, this is what you got. This guy sucks, and they're washed up, and the guys, and it never ends." But realistically, that is exactly the type of moves I expect to see, and I would sign up for Hall and Donato right now. I think those would be two great moves and probably not cost a lot at all. Samuel Molinari, you are thinking you are on the money on Hall. I think I am on the money on Hall. I think he could be a very low risk, high reward kind of guy. Go Bora. Well, I mean, taking Hall too, but just seeing if there's a bigger deal than just the third for Hall. Sure. John Fay, keeping up with the Devils. 90%, I would say. 95, only 5% are seen. Nick, you ever think about filming yourself watching the game? I troll a Rangers fan that does it and light him up when they lose. People have asked about that. I mean, do people really want to watch that? I don't know. That seems kind of like a force to me. It's kind of unnatural. Whereas like talking about the game right now, like this is natural to me. I guess minus the camera till recently, but me and my buddies would talk like this regularly. So in terms of reaction videos, I don't know. Maybe one day. It's not really who I am, I don't think. Jay Snow has been desperately trying to trade Mercer forever, which I disagree with. I'd love to see what we could get for Mercer. We need more size. Mercer would be a lot better somewhere else. Cram 1R, I think the illness bug and insane schedule is taking its toll. I'm hoping for damage mitigation until Four Nations break, thinking the rest will do the team good. I think so too. I think they need a mental and physical break. And it can't come soon enough. I wish Four Nations was tomorrow. Nicholas, a major decision needs to be made. The latest performances have been unacceptable. I agree. I absolutely agree. We have the obligatory fire Fitz from Woodson. John Fay, in my opinion, the Kachuk brothers made a name for themselves by themselves. That too. The sons of Big Walt, but they certainly put the Kachuk name on the map all on their own. They called it a disconnect post-game, not good. Oh, yeah, I did hear. Collect records. Thank you, sir. Oh, man. Collect records. Since Brian C is back, I just wanted to highlight what a dildo he is for being happy the Philadelphia Garbage Humans won one game. Hashtag typical Philly mutant. Thank you for the super chat, Collect Records, man. That actually was hilarious. I started ignoring them because, to be trolled by a fan of a team in let me see, were they actually in last or near last? Oh no, they shot up there. I mean, they're not. Yeah, Buffalo is just so bad. In a fifth place wild card spot, is comical, and so I stopped giving him airtime multiple comments ago, and I'm just kind of glossing over his comments. But man, what a painful existence we're in right now. But thank you very much, Collect Records. Very much appreciated. Yeah, Brian C. Oh man, these doomers are out. These doomers are out. Collect Records. They're out here. We got Flyers trolls. We have Devils fan trolls. Think about that. We have a Ranger fan who's civil, or at least was in the chat. A normal Ranger fan. I'm getting trolled more by our own fans. But thank you very much, Collect Records. That's pretty funny. We're at an official low point of the season, getting trolled by Flyers fans. Metalander, how do you think Scott Stevens would react in the room to this slide? There needs to be fear. They don't make guys like that anymore, man. Scott Stevens would be livid. He would be looking at people and they'd cry. If these guys play with Scott Stevens, I guarantee you there'd be tears from just the looks he would give people. He wouldn't have to say anything. He would just give them the look, and they would know exactly what he was thinking. And it's unfortunate they don't make guys like that anymore, and it's a different league, and for the worst. Bill Ace went to the game today. Devils fan from Philly. Team looked a little lost out there. Hopefully they get the W tomorrow. Bill, I think you're being kind. Looking lost would be putting it mildly. They looked just completely out of it. Completely out of it. Nothing good about this game whatsoever. Walter Ramirez, we have become a predictable team to play against. Stop the rush. The team isn't willing to play dump in hockey consistently. That's pretty much Dylan's take. J. Todd, it's a shame heavier edger Morvan is gone. Team can't generate offense or keep the puck. Once the opposing team clogs the neutral zone, this team has no response. And it's true. It's true. We've seen little bits and pieces of them being able to dump and chase and cycle it around. But all too infrequent. We don't see it roughly anywhere near enough. And as a result, teams keep employing the same strategies to shut us down. And it works. Nick, what's everyone think long-term in net would look with aging goaltenders? Love Markey, but he ain't young. The next goalie of the future will either be Nico Dawes, Isaac Poulter, or Yegorov. Those are probably my top three. And then we have a few other guys as well. But I think Dawes, Poulter, and Yegorov are the most likely to win the starting job in the post-Jacob Markstrom era, which might not be over after next season, keep in mind. Markey's here for this season and next. But if he's able to play like he is now or anywhere near the way he's playing now next season, I fully expect the Devils to re-sign him for at least another year. So they have some time to figure it out, and they have plenty of guys in the system. One of them has to pan out. And I do think one of Poulter, Dawes, Yegorov will be the guy. Nicholas, to lose to the pathetic Flyers in general is by far the most embarrassing loss of the season. We are too top-heavy. Bottom six needs to begin worrying about their jobs every day they wake up. Yeah, you're not wrong. But again, the top six shit the bed too. 13 shots on goal in a whole game. Not going to get it done. Not acceptable. Not going to get it done. Traveling Devil takes the Flyers to meet the Devils at their lowest point in the season to beat them. Not saying much for Philly. Well, who even cares? They're golfing in April. Ritter Engine, we just need to get back into how we were playing before Christmas break and we'll be okay. Yeah, if that's even possible. I don't know that we'll ever see that team again. I hope we do. But there's no guarantee. Ritter Engine 128. Let's be honest, as much as I want to be positive, tomorrow will be a grind, to put it nicely. Senators making a strong push for the playoffs. Yeah, absolutely. They're going to be playing desperate. They had a huge win today against Boston, and they're going to be looking to build on that. And SST, you're suspended, so I'm not showing any of your comments. I've shown several of Woodson's. You're serving a game suspension. Jay Snow, split Brat and Jack up. It's time they need to put heavier guys around Jack. Yeah, I mean, I would like to see it. Like we've talked about this before, a game with him with either Cotter or Nason could be interesting. It's worth testing, and maybe tomorrow we see it. I think it's definitely worth testing out. John Woodson, 2 years and we still haven't adjusted the team's cloggle the neutral zone, but there's hope. I'm hoping with a couple trades that it is possible. And guys just, they've shown the ability to do it. I think the issue, and the same with hitting, it's just they decide not to. It's like, listen, guys, you're not going to be able to play your little pond hockey style that you want to play every game. You're going to have to play some warfare battle games. And it's time to get it done. Ritter Engine, Keefe needs to get the team to figure out plays when opposing team clogs a neutral zone. It just feels a tad bit that Keefe has been complacent. Yeah. Complacency is never good, but maybe desperation will finally sink in for tomorrow. John Woodson, Ace wants Markey as our goalie for the Cup run in 2030. No, I'm not saying that, but you'd be. I mean, well, I don't know where Woodson is a confusing one to me because he has some horrible takes, and then he has logical ones. It seems like the logical ones are few and far between, but he does have them. Are you going to tell me that if Markey plays next year the way that he played this year, that you wouldn't want him for the following season? I'm curious. Walter, Ace, is heavier, edgier, more violent the future? If you say yes, how do you justify the stars in the roster who refuse to play that style? Well, we've seen games where Bratter has smashed people. I think it has to be a mandate that this is not up for discussion. If you do not play this way, then you will play your way off of this team. I mean, I think that's just the reality. This is how we have to play, and if you don't do it, your ass will be sitting or shipped out. That's it. And Cotter has just been a monster all season. Love me some Paul Cotter. Give me 5 more Paul Cotters. Because he plays like he wants to win every night, and he wakes up, he gets out of his bed angry. He gets up angry and smashes guys. 6 hits today. Ryan, yeah, Brat and Jack need to be split up too soft together. Can't win board battles, especially Jack. Well, Jack is, the big knock on him is the big knock on him, right? Like 0 physicality, like none, like not existent. That's got to improve a little bit, but would be interesting to see him with either Cotter or Nason for sure. The Devil 13, we need more depth scoring. Yeah, we need more scoring everywhere. The Devil 13, Halla has to be replaced. I wouldn't be against that. Richard Tompkins, currently it's not stopping the puck. I'm concerned about. I'm worried about scoring goals. Yeah, I mean, we haven't given up a ton of goals in most of the games lately. We just can't score at all. Can't score at all. And so when you can't score, not a recipe for winning hockey. 1 goal isn't going to get you a win. Jay Snow, going to be an alcoholic season's end. That makes at least 2 of us. Nicholas, is Jack just super soft? I think he is. John Woods, in reality, is Markstrom could keep this level of play for no more than 3 years. I'm focused winning in 5 years, and we need to build things for that time frame. Okay, that could be the guy that's behind him, whether that's Yegorov, Poulter, whoever. But if Markey looks like the way he does this year, next year, I'm definitely bringing him back for the 3rd year, and he grooms whoever's behind him. I don't know why you're focusing on winning in 5 years. You should be focusing on winning now. So if Jack refuses to play heavier, edgier, more violent, you're shipping him out. I mean, I'm not expecting him to go out there and be Paul Cotter, but he has to do a little more than he has been, which is basically nothing. Like, you cannot shy away from contact. This is hockey. Maria D was there. Felt like last year. Went out and got my first box of Snickers ice cream bars. Sorry you subjected yourself to that, Maria, but you certainly will enjoy those Snickers ice cream bars because they are damn delicious. Jack can't play heavy. He's 165 pounds with a bad shoulder. I mean, if that's the case, then what are we talking about? You can't run from contact. I'm not expecting him to be, a Kachuk, but you also can't run away from contact. It's just not an option in the NHL. Jack, what's your take on the JT Miller rumors? Think there's truth to them or it's BS? Well, I'm pretty sure Fitz came out and said he never talked to the Canucks GM. And so it seems a lot more like more BS, but I could see Fitz inquiring at some point. Now, without retention, I have no interest at all. In a vacuum, I like JT Miller as a player. I think he could help this team. I mean, if, JT Miller's your 3rd-line center, all of a sudden you look pretty damn strong up the middle with Nico Hischier, Jack Hughes, and JT Miller. But there's a lot of other question marks around him talking about behavior and locker room stuff. But most importantly, the $8 million a year until he's 37 years old. I'm not interested in that. Now, if they were so desperate to get rid of him that they gave him up for not a lot and they were retaining money on him or something like that, then I consider it. But my initial reaction is I just don't think there's going to be a sensible deal to be had for JT Miller, in my opinion. Richard Tompkins, if that one goal wasn't offside, it would have been a different ending. Yeah, absolutely. If we took a 2-1 lead in the third period, I think the game plays entirely differently. But, it didn't play that. It played out the way it did. The goal came off the board. And, now we have to deal with that. So, yeah, Fitz said he had 0 talks at Vancouver. Claude Lemieux does have a son, Brendan Lemieux. I don't even know if he's in the league right now. He was waived at some point last year, I believe. Ace, you want Hall again, and you said I'm a hater on him. Well, you were hating on him. Now that he's injured and stuff, listen, I still think he could have a spot in this lineup when he's healthy. But there's, he wouldn't be the first guy to upgrade. There's other guys that I think need to be upgraded more than him. But, we could use a lot of help. He said Claude has a son and he sucks. Walter, I just wanted to hear you say it proves that you are a sensible man. What was that about, Jack? GM Russian got tickets tomorrow. Hope the snow don't mess up the train schedule. Is it really supposed to snow? Is it? Let me check my weather app here. I thought about going tomorrow. I do like the afternoon games. I'm seeing the snow start after the game started. Let me check Newark specifically. Newark, New Jersey. It says 2 p.m. for snow. After puck drop. Jay Snow. Gonna have to go to AA. Hey, sir, what's your drug of choice? The New Jersey Devils. Oh, man. John Woodson, I'm just butthurt we got Markey and cost us to get Askarov. People say Askarov could have sat behind Markey for a few years, but he didn't want to. Well, also, Trotz was, you have to remember the real timeline of events. Trotz was supposedly asking for the sun, moon, and the stars for Askarov. And so Fitz went and got Markey. Askarov did not get traded till after that, when his agent made a big stink to the media and kind of forced Trotz's hand. That all happened after the fact. So what was Fitz supposed to do? Now, I still would have tried to get Askarov. And to be perfectly honest, he just wanted to be in the league. I would have figured out something with Jake Allen and immediately brought him into the league if that was going to satisfy him behind Markey. But, it didn't pan out for us. And San Jose swooped in. Assuming the money works out and both guys waive, would you accept a JT Miller for Dougie Hamilton 1-for-1 swap? Wow. The thing you have to realize is Miller's getting $8 million for 5 more seasons after this. And it's going to bring him into old man status. He's in year 2 of 7. Let me see how many more. And Dougie's in year 4 of 7 at a $9 million cap hit. That one's not an easy answer for me, Jack McCabe. That one's really close. Because then you do get forward help. You open up a spot on the D. But I do think we would miss Dougie a lot, personally. That's a tough one. I can't say definitively yes or no. To me, that's a super, super hard one to call. Admit it, this team is beyond the help of a couple bottom 6 trades. I can't admit that because the same group is here that was playing amazing through Christmas. So I can't say that, just because the recent slide, we've seen flashes of brilliance. They did, back-to-back 12-shot shutouts against the Penguins and the Rangers. They did beat the Panthers 2 games on their home ice. And so I can't discredit all of that stuff either. BC, Jack is our Trevor Zegras, flashy offensive player, zero physicality, media star, face of the franchise, effectively runs the organization, makes dumb mistakes without consequences. Well, I think he's way better than Zegras, and his point totals will show you that. But you're not completely off base with some of the stuff, like very flashy, no physicality, media guy. And I don't know how much he runs the organization, but I wouldn't want any player to be able to run the organization. That's not, there was no Devils players running the organization during the glory days when Lou was at the helm, and that should never be the case. That's a recipe for disaster. Once the inmates are running the asylum, it's no good. Eric, what's going on? What's up, Ace? I had purchased tons of signed Devils memorabilia since the last chat I was in. Nice. What'd you buy? Fentanyl Floyd says absolutely not a JT Miller trade. Jay Snow says I love Miller. He's a gritty player. Amagi, why is Miller tied up for so long anyway? Seems stupid because that's what all these teams do. We signed Dougie for 9 years. Woodson says Vancouver wouldn't take Dougie. He's probably right. Richard, JT's contract feels too long to take on unless he just goes lights out, but there's no way to tell how he would do. Yeah, it's a big gamble in my opinion. Yegorov is at BU right now. GM Russian, whole team has COVID since break. They will bounce back. Oh, boy. Walter Ramirez, that Miller-Hamilton trade is perfect. Casey becomes the power play quarterback, taking Hamilton's spot. I don't know. I don't know that. I mean, I'll tell you this. If somehow the Devils, forget Dougie, if the Devils trade any defenseman or any defenseman gets hurt, if another defenseman gets called up before Shimo Nemitz, you might as well start looking to trade Nemitz immediately, because if Casey gets called up before him, the quotes that would come out of the Shimo Nemitz camp, whether himself, his agent, whatever, would be damning, and Fitz would essentially be forced to trade him, I think, nearly immediately. Derek, I think defense is tightening up around the league in the second half of the season, and it's when our water bugs have a little more difficulty finding time and space. Yeah, that's everywhere. That ice shrinks. Space is at a premium. Goals are at a premium. Oh, Eric, 2 signed Jack Pucks in Jersey, 1 signed Dougie Puck, and 1 Marks from Jersey. Nice. Eric, the next time you buy something, bro, use my link. I just posted my Fanatics link. I get a little credit if you use my link, so I'd appreciate that. I'll post it again. Bang. Use my Fanatics link if that's where you're buying from. John Woodson, I don't trust the Devils' capability to develop a goalie within. We ruin every prospect. Got to get the long-term solution when you have the chance to do so. I agree, but one of these freaking kids in the system has to hit. There's just too many, Poulter, Dawes, Yegorov, Jacob Malik, Tyler Brennan. I mean, we have like 6 guys. There's a Finnish guy whose name I always forget that we drafted later this year as well. One of them have to pan out. Jay Snow, the boys need a night out to get twisted, clear their heads, play tomorrow to take someone's head off. Nowadays, the idea of a night out is playing video games and drinking soda. I'm pretty sure it's very different than the good old days. Jack McKay, would you change the lines? If so, what would you do? I'd definitely change up something. We saw it was probably a few weeks ago now. Keith ran a whole practice with different line combinations, and maybe he was trying to just get a pulse on how some things could work out for the future that he could go to. we saw some different combos there, but there's a lot you could do. Obviously breaking up peanut butter and jelly. I made a video about that because we thought that was going to happen because they were broken up in a practice. But, Nason or Cotter with Jack could be interesting. There's a lot of combos. I definitely would try Cotter in the top 6. I think he's shown that in terms of offensive ability, he has a lot more than some of the other guys on this team. And he's got some hands. So, I would definitely try that. And then obviously the fourth line, I don't know what you're going to see. If you're going to see Hallinan again, if you're going to see McDermott. So we'll see. But there's tons of things you could try for different looks. LJ, Devils just got to survive the 9 games till the break. At this point, I'd sign up for 4-4-1 in a heartbeat. That would be brutal. Like, that's what we're getting excited about now. My God. John Woodson, I'd prefer to keep Casey Nemitz and trade Luke, but no one agrees with me. Because it's not realistic, Woodson. At least talk reality. A Hughes brother is not getting traded, so why even bother wasting keystrokes talking about it? Tim Frith, hey, Ace, was the Devils' goal wiped off by an offside call? Yep, Bratt got in there early. It was offsides, and it comes off the board. Garrett Ruckel, why are we talking Markey? He's been the one bright spot recently. Because, we're talking about, I'm only talking positive about Jacob Markstrom. John Woodson, Markey is fine, but by the time we fix this team, he'll be retired. I don't think so. Jay Snow, what do you think of Hallinan's game today? I thought it was decent. I remember vividly he had a nice play on a back check. He came flying back and broke up a play, sent the puck the other way. Thought he was in good position a couple times that I recall. I mean, obviously not too much going on from anybody, so it wasn't like some stellar performance. But again, if you don't stick out in a negative way, that's a positive the way this team's been playing, and I'd like to see him play again tomorrow. Jack McKay, if there's another lifeless performance tomorrow similar to what we saw today, is there a bigger kind of change made by Wednesday's game versus Boston? If we lose tomorrow, it should be the absolute panic button. I don't know what you wait for. If they lose tomorrow, head's got to roll. I don't know what that exactly looks like with this current administration, but if they, a loss tomorrow is full panic button. Brett B says Timo, Jack, Nason, Nico, Bratt, Palat. I mean, what they need to do is put Timo Meier back on the right wing. I mean, that's what they need to do. I would like to see Timo on the right side. There's so many combos. I talk about it because I want to win. It's not happening, bro. Give it a rest. I hope you know that neither one of the Hughes are getting traded anytime soon. So talking about it is a complete waste of time. Ted, what do we do about these clumsy turnovers to the middle of the ice? You stop making them, but that's an execution thing. Keith said it in the postgame. Our execution's terrible. Sloppy passes and just bouncing pucks everywhere. It was just terrible. At some point, the players have to take accountability. You can't blame everyone else but the players. Captain Mofongo, Nemitz still has aspects of his game that needs work. Skating, his ability to keep the puck in the offensive zone, and viable slap shot. I love Nemitz, but there's a reason he was sent to Utica. Yeah, it's because he wasn't one of the 6 best defensemen that we could ice in an NHL game. John Woodson, why not 3 heavier guys on the line? Why do we have to protect our midgets? That's the whole problem. Well, I mean, you don't want a completely undersized line out there for any team. Who are the 3 heavy guys you want on one line? I'd be curious. I definitely would like to see Cotter flopped with Palat at a minimum. Walter, Aces turned to Mike Tomlin. Can't talk about making major moves. Let's just keep doing the same crap and expect different results. I'm not saying that at all, but talking about trading one of the Hughes brothers is ridiculous. It's never happening. So I'm not going to sit here and talk about it like it is. It's not realistic. It's not happening. It's not realistic. I'm not wasting my time. John Woodson, why even trade for Mario when they knew they'd never play him on his natural side? I don't know that they did know that. And he has played there last year at points. They need to put him back there. I don't know why this is such, again, why this is such a, we talked about this last year. It's like he plays much better on the right side. A lot of during gameplay, you see him default to the right side. Like he'll drive up that side of the ice. And so they've asked him before and he was like, oh yeah, I could play either side. It's like, he should just stop saying that. He tries to pretend like he doesn't have a preference. He should just straight up say, I'm better on the right side because the evidence supports it. It's not debatable. He is better on the right side. Now, can he play both sides? Sure. You can play both sides. But you're clearly much better on the right side, and that's where he should be put. Brian says, maybe there's a reason they don't put him on the right wing. I would love to know what it is. Agreed, if they lose tomorrow, something will need to happen. Walter Nemitz should have been traded when he had max value. Jay Snow says Timo, Brat, Nico, Jack, Nason, Cotter. Yeah, but if you do Timo, Brat, Nico, Timo's going to be stuck. Timo's going to be stuck on the left side still. That's, I'd want to get Timo on that right side. Jack, Nason, Cotter would be super interesting. I would love to see that. Jack, Nason, Cotter has me very interested. Oh, man. Richard, have a good night, AC, tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Jason says, unfortunately, we can't play Jack with Timo. I mean, they could try again. They could definitely try again. Cotter, Jack, Nason, Brat, Heischer, Meyer. I'm not mad at that. I don't know if Brat's going to like playing on the left wing when he's been playing on the right. But I think he's played both wings before. It's definitely worth trying. I'd be super intrigued by that. I'm sure Jack would complain, but I think him and Brat like playing together because they are the two best guys. But I'd be all for seeing those lines, at least an audition of it. We got Meyer because him and Nico had good history playing together. Jack, those lines are worth a try. I'd definitely like to see those lines. The Rock will have a $1 hot dog night, and Ace will take public transportation before his Hughes brother gets traded. A Hughes brother's not getting traded. Like, you have to know this as a, So I can't sit here and pretend. Jack can't play with Meyer. They hate each other. I don't know that there's any proof of that either. Brett, I really agree with Timo on the right side. Yeah, it seems like a necessity. It's crazy not to. Jack, Brat, Nico, and Timo played great together last year at the end. Woodson says, I wouldn't say the team had chemistry. The NHL just didn't play the right defense against us yet. Yeah, it was still early on before everyone watched the same game tapes. Jack, make the Heischer line the official first line and Hughes line the second. I mean, what does that really mean in the end? It's all, what is the difference? SJ, the Devils definitely missing something. I don't know what, though. It can't just be any player or third liner. They need another Nason. Let's clone him. Yeah, I wish we could bring him in the lab and get another one of those junkyard dogs. Stefan Nason's been a freaking beast this year. Meadowlander, Ace, I'm going to the Bell Center next Saturday for the game against the Canadians. Are you going up there for Four Nations face-off? So I don't think I'm going to go to Montreal for those round of games. I think I'm going to go to the games in Boston. The Boston games. Walter, Hughes can't win a faceoff to save his life. Would you move him to winger at this point since we can't trade him? I don't know. I would still keep him at center for now. People have talked about possibly experimenting with him on the wing, but I think it's best to keep him at center. LJ, might be an insane ask, but any chances he's young they consider moving Luke to wing? Don't kill me just thinking out loud. No. He's a mobile defenseman, and that is what he will be. I don't know where everyone comes. It seems like lately a lot of people are talking about moving guys. It's one thing to move guys in different positions as a forward, either center to wing or wing to center. But when you're talking about defense to offense, I mean, that's psychotic. That rarely ever happens. I don't know where people are thinking. People are saying that about Casey too. Like, oh, make him a winger. Like, it's just like, that simple of a thing. No. Ryan Johnson, anyone that says a Hughes brother is getting traded is just stupid, plain stupid. Exactly. That's why do I'm not even wasting my breath talking about this. Ryan, welcome to the narcissistic world of SST. Fentanyl Floyd, Jack shouldn't be a C, not good at faceoffs, and is not that responsible defensively. I think Keefe is giving him enough rope to hang himself with. He's putting him out there on the power play, the penalty kill. He's everywhere. Amagi, the Jack-hating Meyer conspiracy theory is so stupid. Yeah, I'm not sure where they're getting this from. True Patriot Ace needs to figure this out like yesterday, losing faith by the period. I'm fully with you. We're one game away from full panic, in my opinion. It's a very alarming now. A loss tomorrow, I am smashing the panic button. Full body. Anson Meadows. Some chirping about Jonathan Taves making a comeback since healing more from long COVID. Yeah, I talked about this before. He would definitely be worth us getting, but I think it's almost a foregone conclusion that when he comes back, he'll be going to his hometown Winnipeg Jets to play in front of his friends and family for a beastly team led by who will likely be the Vezina winning goaltender, Connor Hellebuck. True Patriot, nobody's moving from D to O. Come on, people. What are we talking about? Lately, a lot of people have been talking about this. Nicholas, what about this game completely has changed your mood, Ace? So it's not just this game. I said I was concerned a couple games ago, but there's a difference between losing a hard-fought game or a close game versus just not showing up, right? And so even, that Florida game, they were right there. It was a fight. They did get outplayed in Toronto, but they had the lead. They were right. The win was there for the taking, and it slipped away. They're in a lot of close games, and while, you hope the team had played better during the games, they weren't gutless performances. Today was truly a gutless performance. You did not show up. Period. You did not show up to work. 13 shots on goal is not going to get it done. Cotter with 6 hits and Nate Bastion with 3 hits registered 9. The two of them accounted for half of the team's 18 hits. 13 shots on goal. Completely unacceptable, deplorable, disgusting, nauseating, every adjective you want to use. And that is what has changed my mood, Nicholas, because it wasn't a game that was like, damn it, we came out on the wrong side of another one where they at least showed up. Today was a no-show virtually almost across the board. And to lose in that fashion will make myself and probably lots of others kind of upgrade the problem from like concerning to like near catastrophe, because not showing up is a lot different than kind of losing a close, hard-fought game. Derek, it just occurred to me thinking about the Four Nation faceoff that the Devils have no Russians. Well, Russia's not in the Four Nations, but we do not have any Russians on the NHL team at the moment. We have some, prospects, including Yegorov, the kid in goal we were just talking about, who's just getting to BU. Brandon Smith moved between defense and wing last year, but you're right, it's not practical. Well, he's played both of them before. That's different. That's very different than, making a young player switch positions versus a guy. Brendan Smith has played both before. LJ, 13 shots against the Flyers is disgraceful. It really is. Walter Ramirez, do you think Keefe putting Hughes everywhere is his rebellion to show everyone how incomplete his game is? He obviously isn't protecting him the way Lindy did. No, I honestly believe if I had to, I think what Keefe is doing is giving Jack every opportunity to prove himself. That's also why I thought he put him out there in the shootout. Keefe's not an idiot. He knew that Jack's career percentages were dog shit. He obviously has all that at his fingertips. And so he was aware that Jack, sucks in the shootout, but he's giving him every opportunity to prove himself in these situations, right? So he's like, oh, you think you're a great all-around player? Okay, I'm going to put you out there when we're leading a game by 1 goal late in the game, defending a lead. Oh, you think you want to play penalty kill? Okay, let me give you that opportunity. And so I think it's more so of Keefe, trying to show Jack that he has confidence in him and reward him with all of these scenarios, and making him prove it. And obviously it works on a lot of occasions, and on a lot of occasions it doesn't work. And I think that's kind of where Keefe is at, where he's like, I'm going to go through the growing pains and whatever happens along this ride, because this is how this kid's going to get better. I think it's all very calculated. John Woodson, the definition of a tough team is what they do in the third period. We folded as poorly as you possibly can for at least 5 games straight. They don't care. Lack of effort is unacceptable. Fully agree. Fully agree. John Fay, Ace, just to be clear, if we lose tomorrow, we hit the panic button and go full code red? Absolutely. Absolutely. That would be what? 3 wins in 12 games, I think. Right? We'd be 3. Right now we're 3-5-3, so we'd be 3-6-3. Yeah. Yeah. If we lose tomorrow, it's a full nuclear attack. Losing back-to-back games against teams not even in a playoff spot at the moment at the Rock, or the Sens are in a wild card, but 2 teams that aren't premier teams, yeah, wild. Tomorrow's huge. Brett B, I think Jack on penalty kills should be weaponized and used sparingly. I can see the argument for that, but if Jack is going to blossom into this all situations player, he's gonna have to get some work at it in real time. Learning on the job training, as they say. So, I don't know that he should be out there all the time or used as much as Keefe has used him. But I think he's kind of committed to this kind of thing. True Patriot, exactly what he is doing, letting him try and build his game and lead the team. Jack, unfortunately, is not elite. Barkov, Poppy, and McDavid don't turn pucks over. That's not true. They definitely do. Does this Devils team have any pride? I think we'll find out tomorrow. They didn't have any today. And hopefully they're embarrassed by it. But I mean, again, knowing when you know how you've been playing as of late and what's on the line, to show up to the game today and put forth that dog shit effort that they did, I would say they don't have any pride. Now, they could prove us wrong tomorrow, or at least take a step in the direction of proving us wrong. But as of right now, this is pathetic. What does going code red mean exactly? I mean, I would say immediate trades. And or at a minimum healthy scratching. I mean, at some point you cannot keep, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And so if we lose tomorrow, to me, code red time for sure. And if you don't make an immediate trade, there's got to be immediate scratching. Something has to give again, because the results are just not there. You could argue we could have won so many of these games recently, but we haven't. And so they got to get wins. Nicholas, I think Jack needs to start lifting weights. Yeah, I think so, but that's not going to change anything dramatically either. Jay Snow, what's the real odds we win tomorrow? Well, I'll tell you right now. There's Vegas. Sadly, we're probably a favorite to win. Yeah, we're minus 128. So that's the odds. We're favored to win the game. I don't get how the players can be this soft. It's fun to smash people. I always thought so too, Jay Snow. It's crazy to me that you have to be like brainwashed. You have to be brainwashed to hit people. It's like, don't you want to hit people? But a lot of these guys didn't come up that way, and they don't. It's not in their DNA. It is in the Paul Cotter DNA to smash people. It's in the Johnny Kovacevic DNA to smash people. I stand corrected. McDavid had more than Jack, but the other two way behind him. A lot of these elite guys, when they're handling the puck that much, you're going to have turnovers. It's just going to happen. It comes with the territory, but he's been making them at horrible times as of late. Brett B, it sucks there's a basketball game at the Rock, so the ice is going to be poor quality, and that's going to make their execution way more difficult. Also, their goalie going to have his Vezina game tomorrow. They played Boston today, so I have to think the only break we're going to get is because they were playing Olmark. They had to play Olmark today. Let me just double check. Obviously, Olmark left them. He got dealt to the Sens. Oh my God. It was a miraculous comeback. Where was this? Was this? Oh, it wasn't Ottawa. Yeah, they trailed. Wow, Ottawa was up 2-0, and they blew the lead. So Ottawa was up 2-0, and then the Bruins were up 3-2. Ottawa ties it 3-3. Then Boston gets the next two, go up 5-3. And then the Sens score 2 with the empty net, with the extra attacker. And the fifth goal to tie it up was with 12 seconds left. Wow, the extra attacker for the fourth goal in the game tying. And then they won in the shootout. Holy shit. What a wild finish. I can't wait to see the highlights of that one later. And let me just double check. Yep, it was Swayman versus... Wait, did Omar get hurt again? I thought Omar was already back from his injury. Wow, he's still hurt. That's crazy. So yeah, so I guess we're gonna see Forsberg tomorrow in net for the Sens. Luke Perry, Rangers may be in on JT Miller. It seems like he wants to play there. John Woodson, I'd be fine with keeping Nico. Brad is only tradable for size. Mercer is tradable. Reality is built around Casey and Salive if they live up to the hype. Amagi, with Cotter, Covey, Nason, Timo, Mack, and Dunn on the line, I don't get how crushing people isn't contagious. Whatever it is, they just don't like hitting people. It's wild. Just to rub salt in the wound, the Habs are beating the Leafs 3-0 in the first. That's terrible. John Woodson, I'm creating a sports gambling account for tomorrow. We never win back-to-backs. Easiest money in sports. Woodson, again, only Cotter and Nason consistently hit. The others have stopped because why give effort when no one else does? By the start of Four Nations, Devils hit. I didn't mean to show that. Jay Snow, growing up, even if you were going to get your ass kicked, you fought. Absolutely. Some days you're the hammer, some you're the nail, but always show up for the fisticuffs. Brett B, I hope Timo skates into whoever's in net like a tank. I would love to see that too. SJ, maybe our best players are too similar. This has been my knock on the team for years, is that we have a lot of finesse skill guys without the grit around them. Now there's the grit around them, but maybe we need a kind of highly skilled, gritty guy. Yeah, I hit it by accident. He's still suspended. All right, guys, it's that time. I'm going to take a leak. I will take a leak. I'll be back in 2 minutes, and I'll start winding this down. What an atrocious day. The only good thing about this whole situation is that we get right back at it tomorrow with a chance to at least try to get the taste of dog dew out of our mouths. But man, they're going to probably feel a lot of pressure. Tomorrow's big. Tomorrow's really big. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Throw everything out there. We'll wind it down. Any thoughts, concerns, comments, questions, random shit, throw it all out there. I come back, we run it down, and then we're out of here. Gonna go enjoy some UFC. But yeah, throw it all out there in the comments. I'll be back. What a terrible day. Terrible day. Be back in 2 minutes. All right, here. Let me see if I could. It's probably not going to work out, but crazier things have happened. You're allowed to score more than one. Yeah, someone should tell the New Jersey Devils. Damn it. Who is a highly skilled, gritty guy? I mean, the Kachuk brothers obviously are. They're not available. I mean, if you're talking about guys that are available, I don't know. I would even settle for a guy like Ryan O'Reilly in that scenario. Oh man, you guys are throwing a lot of things out here. UFC main card predictions, huh? UFC, I think Islam's going to kill Moicano. I mean, credit to him for jumping in there on the replacement. I think he's going to get killed. Islam is an animal. I got Islam. I think Merab's going to do it. Even though Merab's a dog, I always thought Merab was underrated. He's just a sneaky good guy, and I'm rooting for him. I always liked Merab, even though he's not the most exciting fighter a lot of times. Merab. I'm hoping to see a big performance out of Yuri Prohaska. I'm picking him as well. I got Almeida in the other one, and I think Holland sucks. I think DeRitter beats him. John Woodsme, wonder why we don't hit, but the players with the letters who are our leaders don't hit. I don't think that really matters. I mean, you don't need your guys with the letter to hit. You just need enough guys to hit and enough guys to be willing to hit. So I can't. I just think there's not enough guys that want to hit and thrive in that. If they're losing big tomorrow, throw things on the ice. I don't think that's the answer. Anson, I've got DeRitter, Yuri, Merab, and Islam. Yeah, those are the ones wow, we have the same picks. Same picks. Luke, being equally trolled by a Devils fan, Devils and Flyers fan. This is rock bottom. Oh, this is rock bottom. This is rock bottom for sure. I thought Bertuzzi was worth looking into last year for the offseason. I think he got paid a lot too. How's he doing on that dog do team? Yeah, 5.5 million cap hit. It's a little steep. A little steep. Oh man, Metalander, the Nemitz trade request noise is getting louder. It's featured on NHL Network now. Yeah, it really got blown out of proportion, and now it's taken on a life of its own. It's unfortunate. And maybe he ends up getting traded. I don't know. Beachmaster, Bertuzzi over Hall. Yeah, but the problem is Bertuzzi, Hall, you could, you have him as a rental. And if you want to bring him back, maybe he signs for league minimum or damn near close to it to try to win a cup. Whereas you have 3 more years of Bertuzzi after this at $5.5 million. In a vacuum, I'd rather have Bertuzzi, but Hall, you're not married to. Bertuzzi, you're married to for 3 more years at $5.5 million. That's a lot of money. Jack, Hughes brothers, Nemitz, and 3 firsts for McDavid. Oh my God. McDavid's not going anywhere. Jay Snow says, Ace skipped my comment. I don't know which one you're referring to. I think that's it. Does anyone have anything else? What a miserable night. If we trade Nemitz, you just know he'll turn into the best D-man in the league. It's a possibility. I'm not super gung-ho on trading him. I would if the right deal came up, but I'm not going to do it just for the sake of doing it. If we trade him, you need to get something substantial in return. What about snagging Troy Terry or any Anaheim guys? Terry is locked up long term at $7 million. I don't think the Ducks. I think the Ducks look at him as one of their core guys that they're going to rebuild around and with. And he's signed for a while. He's in year 2 of a 7-year deal at $7 million. I don't think they're going to look to deal him. Jack McCabe, all this doom and gloom, just win some games consecutively and it's gone. Yeah, if only it was that easy. Pro Bowl forever, sup Ace. Hope you're hanging in there. We'll make it through this. Yeah, hopefully. I hope we do, but it's getting painful out here, and I'm getting shanked up. Every post game, I'm just taking bullets and stab wounds out here. It's wild times. Jace, no, they lose tomorrow. I don't know how much faith I have left. Yeah, it's going to be a very big telltale kind of game. I mean, after today's absolute ass cheeks performance, you followed up with another one at home against the Senators, and it's panic time. John Woodson, Ace is going to doom with one more loss. I never thought I'd hear it. It's not doom. It's just the reality of it's now time for a massive shakeup of some kind, or a shockwave of some kind, as I like to say. Healthy scratching guys, a trade, something's got to happen and happen quick. Jay Snow might have to get into the NBA. Oh, don't do it to yourself. The NBA is a terrible product. Absolutely terrible product. Wasted youth comics and action figures. Fitzgerald has to do something. Nemitz in the second rounder for JT Miller. I'm a hard pass on that, my man. I'm not giving up Nemitz for JT Miller. No chance. Jay Snow, Ace, if they lose, who are we trading? I don't know that we're going to make any trades. Even if we lose, and even if Fitz makes a trade, it might not involve roster players. It could be prospects or picks. But we need to do something to get some better upgrades in the lineup. It's clearly obvious at this point. Woodson, Nemitz doing PR will lower his trade value. Absolutely. And I think that happened with Askarov. Once he went to the media with his agent, everyone thought Askarov was going to get a much bigger return. And it wasn't, they didn't trade him for pennies, but it wasn't the package that a lot of people were predicting it would take to get Askarov before that all happened. Pro Bowl forever, Nemitz should get some reps in upcoming games. I wouldn't be against it, but who are you pulling out for him? Who are you pulling out? Sean, trade Timo for Bertuzzi. Dumbest thing I've ever heard. Terrible idea. Timo's not getting traded. Again, you people need to be rooted in reality. Timo Meier is part of this core that the Devils are fully locked into at the moment. He will not be traded anytime soon. Luke, if they lose, it'll just continue to sink into oblivion. Woodson, they'd sit Kovacevic before sitting Luke to give Nemitz playing time, and that's why he's mad, as he should be. Yeah, the sad part is I think you're probably right there. You're more likely to see Kovacevic come out of the lineup before Luke. And then Sean says almost the same stat line. Just looked it up. There is more to the game than the simple stat line. I cannot stress this enough. You can't just go, oh, their point totals are the same. It's not the same thing. The only Pro Bowl, the only realistic trade I see is for Jake Evans from Montreal. Yeah, I would take him. That's a nice fourth line center. I would take that. But again, Montreal is right there in the wild card hunt as well. So are they going to start selling pieces? I don't think so. And that's another thing. There's going to probably be less teams. Less teams that might be sellers because they're in the thick of it. I'd pull out either Dougie or Luke. Walter, we need to do something to get better players in the lineup. Your quote, but we aren't making trades. Listen to yourself. I said the trades might not involve roster players. What don't you understand? I said we might trade picks or prospects to get those players. And then the other players would be scratched. You can't just force teams to take players that you want to get rid of. That's not how it works. And unfortunately, a lot of the guys that a lot of us want to see upgraded, there is probably zero market for another team to take them. That is the reality of the situation they're in right now. Luke, Habs are making a push right now. Wasted Youth Comics and Action Figures, Tanev or Gordy. A lot of people are talking about them. Devils have let their cushion disappear. Yes, they are. John Woodson, not one Devil would say Luke is playing better than Kovacevic. I agree with that as well. But, there's more to it than just that. Beachmaster side thought, name Devils that are Russian since Covey. Let's see. Probably not a ton. Lokhtianov was Russian. I thought he was. Maybe he wasn't. Yeah, Lokhtianov. I'm curious about this Russian angle. I'm still looking. Sergei Kalinin. We got Sergei Kalinin. Not many, though. Nikita Gusev. Nikita Ahoytuk, who went the defenseman who got traded in that Timo deal. He was Russian. Very few, though. That's it. What was that, like 3 or 4? Wow. It's like 3 or 4. But they drafted Salayev, obviously, with their pick this year. The big defenseman. He's Russian. And they also picked the goalie Yegorov, Russian. After the Kobe debacle, the Devils organization has shied away from Russians. Ace, what do you think about waiving Bastion and Tatar? I mean, I'm more on board for Tatar than Bastion. Now I'm all for upgrading them as well for Bastion, but you got to get the upgrade first. I mean, he's in the lineup for a reason because what do we have better at the moment? James Valenti just entering the chat. Red backlighting. Does that mean we're in the depths of hell? Pretty much. Pretty much. John Woodson, but Parisi was an American. He was tough as nails for a forward. Zach Parisi, pound for pound, one of the toughest players to ever wear a Devils jersey. Dude was not big at all, but had the heart of a lion, went to the corners, went to the front of the net, took a beating, scored pretty goals, breakaway goals, deflections. He is just a consummate hockey player who could score every which way and always came back for more. And that's why Zach Parisi was an absolute phenom and a fan favorite for his time in New Jersey. True Patriot team is a dumpster fire right now with no means to put it out right now. Oh, boy. I mean, listen, guys, we still have the guys that played well once upon a time this season. They're still here. They just need to dig deep. Random, but remember Sheldon Sorey wasn't the best for us, so it developed into an all-star late 20s for a while at least. Love Sheldon Sorey. Wild man. An absolute wild man on the blue line. He was definitely a heavier, edgier, more violent kind of guy. And he ended up playing for a bunch of teams after the Devils. And yeah, he got what the hell? Who did he get traded for? He was part of the trade for Malikov. Another little piece Lou did near the deadline in 2000. Yeah, man, Lou was out there tinkering in that 2000 season. It's crazy. He brought Claude Lemieux in very early in the year, sent Brian Ralston to the Avalanche to get Claude Lemieux back. He got Alexander Mogilny. And then I forgot about the Malikov deal. Yeah, Sorey was part of that deal. What tinkerings by Lou? Lou always had the golden touch for a lot of these deals in season to push the Devils over the hump in cup years. John Woodson, Parisi scored the game-tying goal in the Olympics. I'll never forget it. That was crazy, man. Crazy goal to force overtime in the gold medal game, and unfortunately, friggin' Sid got us in the overtime. If only the USA could have won that game. Anson, like the stream if you're still here, guys. Yeah, I'd appreciate that. Hit the thumbs up for your boy. Dealing with just an insane amount of dooming and negativity. Malikov, yep. Jay Snow, AC tomorrow. I have a strong feeling we're going to be having a similar conversation. I certainly hope not. Maria D, yeah, Pally's wife and kids were there today watching warm-ups. Oof. Yeah, but, I mean, these guys want to win the cups. Hanson Meadows, SST, don't make us waterboard you. All right, guys, wrapping it up. I'm going to watch UFC. This one sucked. The New Jersey Devils fail to show up. They forgot They had a hockey game today. In a gutless outing, your New Jersey Devils fall by a score of 3-1 to the Philadelphia Flyers with only 13 shots on goal. If we don't see a dramatic difference tomorrow, and I don't know what the hell it would take, honestly, but if we don't see a completely different team tomorrow, I'm going to begin to question so many things in life because this has been going on for too long. Going on for way too long. And it's time for something to give here. And I don't know what it is, but I'm hoping for a much better performance tomorrow. And if we don't see one, then it's officially, it's officially time to do something. What that is, I don't know. But we'll see. Hopefully they put the fire out a little bit. But that's it. I'm exhausted. Today was terrible. Anson throws out a 5-2 Devils. Markstrom, my word. Hopefully you're right. The Sens are going to be coming in flying high off a big win against the Bruins in dramatic fashion. And they're going to be looking for a win. They're desperate for points, and we should be playing just as desperate for points. But thank you all for showing up. Thank those of you that combated the Doomers with me. And I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully in a much better mood, drinking victory vodka instead of sorrow drinks. And that's all I got. Terrible day and night. Hopefully we have a better result tomorrow. And I'll see you all then. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.